Welcome to the journey of an awakening spirit with your host, Kathleen Flanagan. The journey of an awakening spirit is about teaching you a variety of tools that you can use to step into your true self. It is about self-discovery, realizing you are not alone on your journey. We will open the phone lines, give readings, and talk about what our listeners want to know. So please welcome the host of the journey of an awakening spirit, Kathleen Flanagan.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Journey of an Awakening Spirit. This is Kathleen Flanagan, your host, and I hope you all had a very happy holiday season, and 2024 is here. Well, the purpose of the show is to help you realize that you are not alone. You are in control of your life. It does not matter what your lot in life is or where you came from. We have all felt pain, suffering, hurt, abandonment, loneliness, hopelessness, etc. This show helps to take those dark moments and turn them around to create a whole new you. We were taught to be a certain way, act a certain way, conform to society. Being socialized is not a bad, but it can put constraints on us. The guests I bring on the show are telling you their story of where they came from, the obstacles they overcame, and where they are today. They are sharing the tools they use to recreate themselves in their life. Some of the guests are still in their process, beginning a new process, comfortable with their process, or even reinventing themselves. They are giving you tools that they use to gain insight into themselves, to take control of their life and become the person they are today. On podcast.kathleenmflanagan.com is a list of the guests that have been on the show with their contact information. I am aware that you may resonate with one or several of them. My desire is that this becomes a community where you have access to the people you wish to align with and utilize the tools that they have, as well as the tools being offered on KathleenMFlanagan.com. AwakeningSpirit.com is an aromatherapy-based body care line that offers alternative healing remedies that use natural and organic ingredients. We are offering a 40% discount by entering Brave TV into the coupon code. The products are guaranteed. If a product is not working, please contact me and we can reformulate the blend specifically for you. Grandma'sNaturalRemedies.net is a CBD company that uses essential oils in every blend and either has broad spectrum or an isolate. Every product is tested and the lab results are on the website. We are offering a 20% discount by entering Brave TV in the coupon code. I start the show every week with sound from the tuning forks. I bring in love, happiness, and balance. This sets the tone for the show and brings out the best in both myself and my guest. Let's begin. Today I have Nick Barrett here with us here today. He is the creator of Cord Brick and founder of Cord Brick LLC. Nick Barrett is an entrepreneur and product developer. A recovering alcoholic of 6+ years, his mission to build something extends beyond his patented creation to one, a benefit non-profit that builds and maintains housing for substance abuse recovery, and two, to inspire other build something and to share their creation with the world. Welcome, Nick.
Hi, thanks for having me, Kathleen. Great to be here.
You're welcome. So, Nick, why don't you tell everyone what your journey is of becoming an awakening spirit?
Yeah, so quick background. It goes back to, of course, the my growing up in a great family. No reason at all to become an alcoholic, as you mentioned, but eventually I did. Graduated college and was kind of on my way in the world, or so I thought, and was derailed by that. And I had some run-ins with the law and DUIs, and even had to spend some time in jail. And so that process allowed me to really have to take a deep look at myself. I mean, just sitting in a jail cell, I think anyone will tell you who's experienced it. Um, you're there, you can't leave, you got to kind of do some reflecting at that time. And of course, that wasn't the first time I had done some reflecting. I had been begging myself, screaming at myself in the mirror for years to, put it down, to not do it the next day. And then, again, I would. And, it seemed like I was tearing my life apart, or I was intent on it. So kind of studying that over the last several years, over 6.5 years now, has been an interesting part of the process, and kind of figuring out, why did I do that? And how do I not do that again? Because as any person in a 12-step program or otherwise will tell you, it's still there. You see it all the time, and you have to constantly not make those bad choices anymore. I think I'm on a path of a more awakened, enlightened being now, though, as you alluded to. But that has been, again, a process that continues. For me, when you were giving the intro, one of the things that went through my mind was just now how I view the entire process differently. And I kind of view it, some people will say they're a grateful recovering alcoholic. And at first people say grateful. Why would I be thankful about this? Why would anyone be thankful? And I think it goes back to once you begin that process of that awakening journey and that search as an adult, it's different than kind of the biological transformations you go to from childhood into pubescence and adolescence and then into adulthood, which is a transformation in and of itself. But a lot of people don't really ever choose to then take a mental transformation into that next step. And they just kind of walk through their whole lives. I think maybe you would agree with this, maybe you wouldn't, unawakened. And so I was one of those people for a long time. And I feel like I am now on that journey, which continues every day to improve myself, partially in part because of my business and what I've created there, but mostly from the humility I did experience from, the falls, and then just having to admit that something needed to change.
Well, have you decided what caused you to want to start drinking when you were younger? Because obviously this started in adolescence, correct?
Yeah, I could talk for a long time about all the different things I've thought about that, but I think basically it comes down to not feeling confident and secure about myself, and also not having the mental tools to go through periods of struggle in my life and solve them in a healthy way. Um, I'm a pretty, I'll say I'm a gifted person naturally. I finished at the top of my class in school without having to try much, and I am thankful for that very much. I don't resent that. I was born with above average intelligence and whatnot, but I think reflecting on that, and hearing some other people's struggles that may have went through that similar thing is you kind of expect that you're going to be able to do that in life, and you can't do that as an adult if you want to be successful at all in a career without not living up to your own expectations. And I think really when it comes down to it, you subconsciously know that you could do better. And when you're not, you feel bad. If you do esteemable acts, you will feel good self-esteem. If you do acts that are unself-esteem worthy and aren't living up to your potential, intrinsically, I think every human being really knows the difference of right and wrong. It takes a very long ways to go to get down a path of truly not knowing, and a lot of self-deception along the way, deception from other people, usually, always really. But and so, just kind of getting working myself into a place of confidence where I felt good about myself and practicing healthy mindsets. It's like it's not something that they teach you in school, maybe on purpose. That's a different discussion. But for me, it took quite a lot of work because my family, I came from, we were okay with money. Maybe my parents, looking at them, they weren't as well off as me, so maybe they felt like they had to do a little bit more. Both of them are oldest children. I'm an oldest child. Um, and so it's interesting, the dichotomy, because they kind of took care of their business. It's like, why couldn't I? So,
Yeah.
the little self actualization there. Um, but lots of different things like that, kind of reflecting on, have led to where I currently am today.
So did they notice that you were drinking a lot, or were they just kind of oblivious to that?
I think they knew some. I had mentioned before that I needed to stop drinking, and they would ask me, why do you seem to need to drink so much all the time when we hang out? Um, for me, it really started early. As soon as I was first drinking in high school, it really made me feel um, uh, that social anxiety was gone, that I
Yeah.
had, and that feeling of insecurity. Getting back to that, with alcohol, it just completely disappeared, and I didn't care what people thought of me when I was, had that nice, warm, cozy feeling of that first drink. The only problem is, over time, it increased and progressed. I needed more and more to get the same feeling, and of course, that doesn't happen. You build a tolerance, so yeah, it never ends until you stop.
Right. And I think that so much of this happens because of just peer pressure, and we're awkward when we start going into high school and our hormones are raging and we want to be like the cool kids. And, so I think there's a lot to be said, because I was the same way. I was very insecure. I didn't know how to speak. I was very depressed, and wasn't a big alcohol drinker, or drugs, smoking a lot of pot, but that was enough to put me into a suicidal tendency. So I do understand that those teenage years, they're some of the worst years for any of us. I mean, we're just so lost and we're confused, and we don't even have our full brain yet. so we're walking around at such a disadvantage. And so, yeah, so I get that. So, well, at least, that was good that your parents were at least somewhat observant, not probably know what to do to help you, or because sometimes I don't think our parents at that generation really knew what to do, because they were so different. I know from my mother, it was such a different experience with her. She's like, I would never think to do this to my mother. And I'm like, well, so what? You're totally different. Sorry, it's a cat. Um,
I agree. I think for men as well, just to interject a little bit, it's, our brains. It seems pretty good science that men's brains develop even slower than young ladies' the brains develop, and so 16, 17, 18, and then having to go into college, and then it's a total drinking culture in college. At
yep.
least where I went, Penn State, it was one of the biggest party schools, and I didn't join a fraternity, but we were right there near the whole downtown area, and it just completely normalized. I felt my first time going to a bar legally. I'd been drinking for years, underage, of course, which in America is just the norm, I think.
Yeah.
I felt like this should be illegal. They're letting me buy this stuff for money. I can't believe it. It's crazy. That was how I always felt. I don't think people who aren't alcoholics always feel that way, but um, yeah, I think without my family as well, getting sober, I mean, I'm the black sheep of the family, if you want the truth be told. So, very successful brothers and cousins and everybody. And so I wanted to, when I had the opportunity to go to rehab here, I did kind of, you know, do everything I could to be successful after that.
Well, good. Well, we're going to go ahead and take a quick commercial break to hear a word from our sponsors.
What if there were a super tiny device that could diagnose the brain and is smaller than a single human hair? What if you could see inside the brain to help an epilepsy patient during surgery or to help the fight against Parkinson's disease? Dr. Patricia Broderick is proud to announce the Broderick Probe, a biomedical and electronic breakthrough. Imagine a probe to help with the understanding and potential cure of brain-related diseases. To learn more, listen live to the Easy Sense radio show with host Dr. Broderick, Wednesdays 7 p.m. Eastern on the Bold Brave Media Network and TuneIn Radio. And to help support the Broderick Foundation, please go to EasySense.com and learn how, with your help, we can fight these horrific brain disorders. That's EasySense.com to learn more and help support the Broderick Foundation. Author, radio show host, and coach John M. Hawkins reveals strategies to help gain perspective, build confidence, find clarity, achieve goals. John M. Hawkins' new book, Coached to Greatness, Unlock Your Full Potential with Limitless Growth, published by iUniverse. Hawkins reveals strategies to help readers accomplish more. He believes the book can coach them to greatness. Hawkins says that the best athletes get to the top of their sport with the help of coaches, mentors, and others. He shares guidance that helps readers reflect on what motivates them, rediscover and assess their core values, philosophies, and competencies, find settings that allow them to be the most productive, and track their progress towards accomplishing goals. Listen to John Hawkins' My Strategy, Saturdays, 1 p.m. Eastern on the BBM Global Network and TuneIn Radio.
Welcome back, everyone. This is The Journey of an Awakening Spirit, and I'm your host, Kathleen Flanagan, and we are here with Nick Barrett. And Nick, tell us, what were the steps that you took to get to where you are today? I know you touched on it a little bit, but it was very broad.
Yeah. Well, first I decided to go to AA. That was my path. The 12-step program was the beginning of sobriety for me. And I think the most important part of a 12-step program, which I still do occasionally attend meetings. I'm not the religious meeting goer that some might want me to be. But for me, that's a different question. But the beginning of the process was admitting that I had a problem and then asking for help, and then the help not being something of my own making and choosing, right? I had to just sort of surrender and submit to the fact that I was not in control of myself, of my body, and of this substance in my relationship with it. And
How old
so,
were you? I'm sorry. How old were you when you did this?
well, the first time I went to AA, I was probably 26, but when I first
Yeah.
got sober, that was 6 years ago, 6.5 years ago, beginning of 2017. And then I started going like 2 and 3 times a day to different meetings, got sponsors, did the steps, went through with that, and then got to working. But it wasn't really for at least a year that I did much work. I was mostly just working on myself, and even after that, practicing a program of just constant, mental improvement, and looking at your, 10th stepping, as they say, just kind of daily reflection, looking at yourself and looking at your actions and trying to figure out where you could get better.
So what came up for you during that period of time? Because that's a big mind. I mean, if you took a break, so to speak, because you started at 26, but it was 6 years. I mean, it been 6 years now, so you're 30 something. So what happened in between that time of when, or was there something that you actually committed to? Did something happen to really commit to this, or was there just something that you saw in your mindset thinking? Because something has to happen. I mean, we know that when we hit rock bottom, we hit rock bottom. But something really drives us, or it doesn't drive us. So what was the driving force for you?
Sure, there were a couple things. I mean, number one, there was the legal consequence. Just the fact of the matter was that I had an alcohol ankle monitor on my
Ooh,
ankle in the beginning.
whoa.
And so that was from the third DUI, I could not drink for the first 4 months or so when before I had to go to a court hearing because I had to then go to that court hearing. And if I went to that court hearing and the alcohol ankle monitor had sensed any alcohol, and it literally sensed it from my pores. If I had one drink, it would know, and then the judge would say, "Oh, well, how can we, give you a lenient sentence if you are drinking during this time when you're wearing a, ankle monitor to make sure that you don't, So I had to follow that rule first and foremost. I had told myself for years that I was going to quit, and I just never had the opportunity. So then, when I was blessed with this opportunity, as it was, I decided that I was going to take it. There was just something in my mind that I wanted to be free from alcohol for years. I knew instinctively that it was wrong, and my relationship with it was abnormal. Other people, when they talked about it, they didn't view it as I did. And so then I had that opportunity, and because I was sort of forced into it, it's like, did I want to spend more time than I had to in jail at that point? No, I did not. So that was a very serious legal consequence. And then I think also, then I had the opportunity to go to a rehab center, which a family member of mine had also attended. And I thought, okay, this person did it. I can do it. And also, I don't want to let these other people down who I'm telling that I'm going to give this my all. I wanted to kind of stick to my word. Something I've learned along the way is when you do lose everything, the only thing you have left is what you say. And if people that you love and trust and want around you believe what you say, because if you start telling them that you're going to do something and then they don't believe you, it just affects your confidence terribly. And then they won't help you. And you can't get anything you need, and your life is tough. But if they know that what you say is going to happen, that you're going to do it, they then this sounds very elementary, but it was something I kind of had to relearn from a basic standpoint. Is I've got to stick to what I say I'm going to do, because I was the king of rationalization before getting sober. I would, whatever excuse needed to be made for my behavior, I would find a way to make it. My parents used to say I would be a good attorney, good lawyer, because I could argue for anything. Just give me any side, and I'll come up with a good defense of it, and you'll be like, wow, I might have to consider that. So when you can do that for yourself, though, that becomes a problem when you're using, uh, you know, lies essentially, and not telling yourself the truth and not being honest with yourself. So it starts with being honest with yourself, and then you start being honest with yourself, and then you got to be honest with other people, and then the other people, then when you're being honest with them, they got to believe what you say because you keep doing what you say, so they know they can rely on you, and they can't even help it. They just do then believe that what you say is going to happen. And that's what I've gotten to over the last 6.5 years, is a place where I say something's going to happen, and now instead of people kind of just scoffing and rolling their eyes at me, they say, okay, wow, okay, that sounds unbelievable, but you've been doing all this stuff that you said, and now I guess okay, you're going to do it, so I'm excited to watch. And that gives me more confidence then to go out and do it, because all these other people now are knowing that what I'm going to say is really going to happen, because it is, and it has been.
Well, I agree with that. I know that I was talking to my business partner this morning because my vehicle's been in the shop for 6 weeks, and I said I just want my car back. The license plates were stolen while it was waiting for a part to come in, and I found the part that I need to get. And we just talked about how we just make things happen. We just we're going to do this, and we look for alternatives. We look to find the answers to problems. And that was something when I came out of the drug rehab, I had to learn how to do everything that you're saying as well. Who's going to believe anything out of my mouth when I was just always lied? And yes, and I was told I'd make a great attorney, and I was a paralegal. So everyone said, you'd be a great attorney because you know how to argue, I was like, yeah, but I don't want to be one of them. But
No.
it was, yeah, but the thing is that all that allowed me to start problem solving more and seeing things and looking differently because it was a whole new mindset. Instead of being a victim, because a lot of times it's really easy to just be a victim of, oh, poor me. And, even because we're not always paying attention to what our mindset's saying or what we're thinking like that, but finding solutions to problems. And people would come to me. It's like, well, I have this problem. Can you help me with this? And they knew I would get it done because, what do? You give a busy person work because they're going to get it done. You give somebody who's not so busy, it's never going to get done. And I think you're pretty much like that, being a products guy. I understand that because I have a products business too. So I know exactly what that is, that you're always looking, you're always researching, you're always trying to streamline all of that. And it just shows in everything that you do. And I think that's why people can look at you now, because aside from just what you did for yourself, look at what you're doing with your business and where that's going. So if you want to go ahead, we're going to take a break in about 3-4 minutes, but why not just get a start on that? And then we'll just continue on once we come back from commercial break on that. So tell everybody about when your idea came to create Cord Brick.
Yeah, so if you've been following along, I did get sober 6.5 years ago, but I thought of Cord Brick over 8 years ago in 2015. And I was struggling to fall asleep. I would always pass out drunk. It's kind of funny now, but it wasn't really funny then. And so I struggled to sleep. It was a real problem. And any little annoyance where I had to get up from my bed, turn the light on, or get out of bed, turn my phone flashlight on or something was annoying to me. And it still is. And my phone cord falling on the floor was one of those things that would happen. I'd be laying in bed and, you get that little 3-foot wall charger and the plug's about halfway up on the wall behind where the nightstand height is. And that little plug tip is very light. And so it just naturally wants to snake its way, of course, in the hardest to reach spot. You got to either move your nightstand or bed or whatever your situation is. Usually it's not ideal for, a plug right next to your bed. And then you don't want the cord right there too. So even if it is on the counter, it creates this like countertop cord spaghetti and whatnot. So I thought, okay, I can just invent a brick. Really easy. It's, silicone rubber, and I put my cord in it, and then I just put it on my nightstand or even on my bed sheet because it doesn't have adhesive on it, so I can just put it wherever. So it was kind of out of that male laziness, I'll just say, wanting to solve a problem and being just a lazy butt, and so then I thought, well, I can make it wrap around the middle, and then it'll solve two problems and kind of be 2 in 1, because I saw the ones that were available at the time were all adhesive. And I thought, okay, well, then it makes the adhesive sort of, not necessary. And then it's a weight inside and you can take it wherever you go, home and away, multiple cord problems, one tool. So that was the idea for Cord Brick. When I was developing it, we kind of had a little accident where I had to redesign the product and it became taller, and I set it on its other side, and then I slid my phone in and I found it could stand a cell phone and kind of hold the phone hands-free as well. And that actually has led to quite a lot here lately. We were recently on the Today Show with the product as a stocking stuffer just 2 weeks ago on the 19th of December. So that was huge. The products, we did about 5 times our sales that we did the previous year, mostly through stocking stuffers. This past year, we're on a Los Angeles TV show, KTLA, Rich on Tech, 3 weeks ago. So we've had a whole lot of stuff happen. We actually just got in 500 Lowe's department stores too.
Wow.
The Lowe's Home Depot competitor, of course. So lots of stuff has been going on for us recently. And we're achieving some pretty big growth, comparable to a company maybe like Pop Sockets, which a lot of people know, just kind of a little accessory you didn't know you needed. And it created an entire, huge market for itself, that company at least. And that's kind of what we're hoping to do.
All right, well, we're going to go ahead and take a quick commercial break, and we're going to talk a little bit more about your success, because, wow, that's a lot that's changed since the last time I talked to you a couple of months ago.
Yep.
Did you know that your beliefs create your entire reality, but it's the subconscious beliefs that do most of the creating? Belief shifter and life coach Shiraz can help you identify those limiting beliefs and eliminate them. often in a single session.
Like it was almost instant, like I had relief right away.
Creating better health, relationships, careers, and finances. Let Shiraz help you step out of safety and into awareness.
Definitely something's happening. It's like a flow inside. It feels good.
Whether in person or online, Shiraz provides personal coaching, belief shifting. Visit Shiraz at energeticmagic.com or call 416-529-7429. Energetic Magic on the BBM Global Network, Tuesdays at 7 p.m. Eastern. Find your greater happiness. Be well. Be aware. Be magical.
Are you struggling to care for elderly parents or a spouse? Do you wonder if being a caregiver is making you sick? Are you worried about taking time off work to care for elderly parents and balance work, life, and caregiving? Has caregiving become exhausting and emotionally draining? Are you an aging adult who wants to remain independent, but you're not sure how? I'm Pamela D. Wilson. Join me for the Caring Generation radio show for caregivers and aging adults, Wednesday evenings, 6 Pacific, 7 Mountain, 8 Central, and 9 Eastern, where I answer these questions and share tips for managing stress, family relationships, health, well-being, and more. Podcasts and transcripts of the Caring Generation are on my website, PamelaDWilson.com, plus my caregiving library, online caregiver support programs, and programs for corporations interested in supporting working caregivers. Help, hope, and support for caregivers is here on the Caring Generation and PamelaDWilson.com.
Welcome back, everyone, to the Journey of an Awakening Spirit. This is Kathleen Flanagan, your host, and we are here with Nick Barrett. And he just told us some really exciting news. So the question is what are you doing today? But the question that I really want to know is how you went from nothing. You created this while you were still drinking, and here you are today managing, obviously, a very explosive company. And I know that can bring on a lot of stress, but you seem really calm and cool and managing it well, unless you're really good at hiding it. But I'd love for the audience to know a little bit more of how you've managed this growth, especially now that it's exponential.
Yeah, I mentioned I thought of it in 2015. Actually, I didn't create the company or start doing really anything with it until a little after COVID in late 2020. So it did take about 3 years into my sobriety to kind of get my head straight, to where I felt like, and then kind of lots of other things happened. COVID, of course, I think was a big just impact of like, okay, other jobs that I was doing went away, and now is the time to do something truly unique. And I did feel like, phone cords and that sort of thing weren't going anywhere. I still hadn't seen the solution out there, so yeah. In 2020, I did kind of have my mindset originally, a little clearer than back in 2015 when I originally thought of the idea. And then, yeah, it's been, especially the last year or so, really different. I mean, beginning of this past year, if you had told me, here we are on January 2nd, 2024, but if you had told me, January 2nd, 2023, you're going to be on the Today Show, you're going to be on, NBC News, Los Angeles, downtown, and get, massive spikes to website sales, different stuff at the end of this year, I would have said, yeah, right. National TV, we're not ready for that. But every trade show I've been going to, people have had great reactions, and then, our sales and numbers have, kind of showed it too. So that's been very exciting. But yeah, as you mentioned, like the mindset change has been different. And I feel like without that, precursor of having a recovery background, it would have been a little more difficult to handle all this. And then the change, and then just the stress and, different problems and whatnot. There's still a lot of work to be done though, that said, because it is stressful and you're in situations constantly that you don't have any experience with, and nobody has any experience with as well. So,
So do you find mentors to help you with some of this? Because I think you would almost need a mentor just to, even if it's just to help steer the ship a little bit.
Yeah. And honestly, I'm always looking to talk to other entrepreneurs. I think, AA, one of the things that brought me was that group dynamic. I think, I've never done Weight Watchers myself, but if I did, I would want to do something with a group. I would want to not go it alone. that sort of thing for AA really helped me. Just having the group, that support of people and seeing like different people's perspectives. And I think also like you don't have to listen to every single person in an AA meeting or any place you go. You can go to find a different group, find a different you know few people that you listen to. I mean, it's a handful of people. I found a mentor in this organization called SCORE. It's an organization of retired executives that volunteer their time, and one of them has become my friend here and is my current mentor. I have several other mentors, and I'm always looking to network with people in the community or that are well connected or just have their life together. So I can model mine closer to what these successful people are doing. I mean, I think really one of the things missing from in my opinion our culture and our society are clear people that you should aim to emulate in every way that they're living their life. There's so many people that are publicized very well that are just not living an awakened healthy spiritual life, in my opinion. And so I think to go and seek that in my own life has been difficult, but a worthy mission. And the people that I have found have been able to kind of literally just imitate what they're doing as well as I can and try to take an honest look at what I'm not doing as well as them, maybe get some feedback if they'll give it to me. That has been probably as important of anything that I've done for myself has been the feedback I've gotten from my actions taken there from these other folks and mentors.
Do you contribute, because you said that you're helping with housing for alcoholic recovery, and you've been doing that almost since the onset of your business, is that correct?
Absolutely. Yeah, every year that's right, we donate just a small amount to a small organization in Florida here. Mm-hmm.
Do you think that could be part of what's contributing, is because you were giving before you had it, so to speak?
I did get a little pushback from people saying like, are you sure you need to give money when you're not paying yourself and stuff yet? So that. And then I think this past year, just kind of talking about the Build Something mission, which I think you just are alluding to here. So initially I thought, okay, I want to donate some of my company proceeds and our charitable contribution, which many companies do, to building housing for recovery. And I thought that would be a noble mission. It's close to my heart. We build bricks, so it's kind of like the bricks, help with building. But then I thought through some time spent here at FGCU, a local university, something maybe more impactful that I could do is actually mentor other young people and just kind of share my experience, particularly people who are trying to build and create something. I feel pretty proud about my brand. I get a lot of compliments on Cord Break, the logo, the look, the packaging, and then just like the story that we kind of tell with the product. I mean, if you back out and think about it, it's a little piece of silicone with metal inside that we sell for $10. So it doesn't cost $10 to make, right? That's the trick of the business, right. But you can do that too, and so I want to inspire other people to do that. And so that's why I've kind of went to the local universities. I speak at the entrepreneurship schools, and I aim to inspire because I think I can probably have a bigger impact doing that and then connecting people, helping them in any way I can, offering free mentoring service. So, that's how I'm trying to give back. I kind of mentioned earlier in our discussion, I don't attend as many AA meetings as I used to. And I think the way that I'm kind of trying to make up for that, if you will, is by giving my experience to other entrepreneurs or people who might go create something of value in another way I can. So maybe they can go create their own, like build something mission of their own too, and then pay it forward as well.
No, I love that idea. I mean, we were talking, my business partner and I, again, were talking because, parts in our world for vehicles is becoming more and more challenging to find. And there's lots of discussions going on about it. But I look at it as, boy, somebody could make a lot of money if they could just create the parts that they need, because it's like find a niche and fill the need. And there's so much that we could use. And even though yours isn't so much a so-called need, but it was a need, because I know about the cords. I know what a pain in the ass it is. They unplug, they fall, you can trip over them, all sorts of things happen. So, I mean, what a beautiful idea that you came up with that, because we never know what these things come. I mean, we create them twice, first in our mind and then in physical form. So it's always, everything, including a pen, was created in somebody's mind before it ever happened. Find a need and fill the niche. You know what I mean? And you're a prime example of something like that, that was kind of probably a little bizarre to people, and they kind of might look at you a little weird and all of that. Because I started aromatherapy in 1995, long before the world was even know much about organics, recycling, aromatherapy, alternative medicines. I was down that road, and they all looked at me like I was a little crazy. And I'm like, well, too bad, because you know what? I know where we're going, people. And we're there, right? We're there. And so again, I'm still another 10 years ahead, because I see other things way out there in the future that I'm working on pulling towards me. But I contributed that is that when you're connected to spirit, as you were, even if you were still drinking at that point, the message came in. You got it.
Yes,
And it
something
was just a
happened.
little bit of a light to get you sparked up. Just that little
Yeah,
bit.
it was, and I think you're right. I think I mean, think about how many things are in people's imagination that never come to fruition for whatever reason. Um, you talk to a lot of people. I talk to a lot of people in my own personal life where I think, man, this person is brilliant. Like, I'm not nearly as, and then you find out later, they haven't done too much with their life, and you think, man, why are you not using these gifts that you have? And I think unleashing that creativity, and because it does take a different a vision of something first, as you mentioned, and us, visionaries. I was a perfectionist personally, and I think that kind of stopped me for a long time, because I thought, man, if I can't do the perfect thing for me, why do anything? And that was the wrong mindset. I should have just tried and started getting my 10,000 hours in that pursuit of creating something. I think maybe not, even if I didn't know what it was, I could have learned more along the way that would have got me here maybe a little faster. I wouldn't have had to kind of gone through some of the speed bumps I have. Um, because you don't really know what you're going to create when you create, and you're going to also think of and learn so many different things along the way that just weren't part of the plan, that will benefit you, and that will show the people that that are close to you in your life that that you're taking it seriously, and you're really giving a full effort, and it'll impress them. I mean, if you spend that time, you're just going to stumble upon things, and you're going to say, well, it was just luck. And they'll say, no, but you did that. And it's like, yeah, I guess I did. Um, yeah. So it's an accident kind of along the way.
Well, I mean, it's perfect. I mean, you knew you were coming down to do that one way or another. It was just, when do we wake up to realize that? And I think when you're creating something like that, a product especially, there's so much of your stuff that comes to your face, because you really look at everything. You look at your limitations. You look at how you're handling money, or how you view money, or how you are with people. And if you trust people, if you trust the process, there's so much, because I went through so many things of my own personal evolution with Awakening Spirit. I believed in the product, but to me, they didn't have the word then, but it was the imposter syndrome, because I thought I was an imposter, because how should I know this? But I just did. And, so when you have to overcome limitations like that, and I think we're so much more enlightened today that we can get around that imposter syndrome, or we can have that confidence, or somebody else can sit there and be your cheerleader, because sometimes it gets a little lonely out there when you're creating something like what you did, and and you're the only one fighting for it and believing in it and having that vision, and and you get a cheerleader or two behind you, you're unstoppable. I mean, that's been my experience, is we become unstoppable when somebody cheers us on, because us visionaries, we're so alone out in the world 90% of the time. Well, we're going to go ahead and take a quick commercial break, and we'll talk to you when we get back, and how people can get a hold of you.
Thanks.
What if there were a super tiny device that could diagnose the brain and is smaller than a single human hair? What if you could see inside the brain to help an epilepsy patient during surgery or to help the fight against Parkinson's disease? Dr. Patricia Broderick is proud to announce the Broderick Probe, a biomedical and electronic breakthrough. Imagine a probe to help with the understanding and potential cure of brain-related diseases. To learn more, listen live to the Easy Sense radio show with host Dr. Broderick, Wednesdays 7 p.m. Eastern on the Bold Brave Media Network and TuneIn Radio. And to help support the Broderick Foundation, please go to EasySense.com and learn how, with your help, we can fight these horrific brain disorders. That's EasySense.com to learn more and help support the Broderick Foundation. Author, radio show host, and coach John M. Hawkins reveals strategies to help gain perspective, build confidence, find clarity, achieve goals. John M. Hawkins' new book, Coached to Greatness, Unlock Your Full Potential with Limitless Growth, published by iUniverse. Hawkins reveals strategies to help readers accomplish more. He believes the book can coach them to greatness. Hawkins says that the best athletes get to the top of their sport with the help of coaches, mentors, and others. He shares guidance that helps readers reflect on what motivates them, rediscover and assess their core values, philosophies, and competencies, find settings that allow them to be the most productive, and track their progress towards accomplishing goals. Listen to John Hawkins' My Strategy, Saturdays, 1 p.m. Eastern on the BBM Global Network and TuneIn Radio.
Welcome back, everyone, to the Journey of an Awakening Spirit. This is Kathleen Flanagan, your host, and we are streaming on the Bold Brave TV network. And we have Nick Barrett in the room with us today. So, Nick, what would be one piece of advice you would offer our audience to help them move in a different direction to achieve their dreams or become a better version of themselves?
Yeah, so my Build Something mission is all about inspiring other people to do that. And I think the first step to doing that is to go out and tell someone your idea. And a lot of people push back on that because they say, oh, I don't want someone to steal my idea. Well, my pushback is, well, probably you're not going to do it. So don't worry about that. But if you do it, probably no one's also going to steal it. And the reason is because it's your idea. You have the vision. They're not inside your head. You know, one of the biggest mistakes that people usually make is thinking, and one of the reasons for social anxiety, at least for me, I've learned, is that you think that people can see inside your head and what you're thinking more than they can. Silence is usually okay. And a lot of times people talk too much. I'm one of those people, and it shows your nerves and whatnot. And so, but one thing you can do to get started on your mission, I believe, is to tell other people and start becoming accountable to them by telling them you're going to do something and telling them your idea about what you're going to create, because they're going to ask you questions, they're going to give you pushback, and then it's going to help further develop your idea. And maybe it won't be that idea, but maybe it'll be the next one that you decide to go pursue. And if you need to protect it, you'll figure out how to protect it along the way with intellectual property.
Yes, that's very true. So, Nick, tell everybody how they can get a hold of you and for the future, and if they want to buy your cord brick, where they can get that.
Absolutely. So it's Cordbrick, CORDBRICK, and you can find us on social media at Cordbrick. And then you can go to cordbrick.com. You can search Cordbrick on Amazon. And that would be the best ways to find us. We're on all the main social media sites, and check out our website. Great stocking stuffers for cord bricks, great gifts as well. Nothing to break or wear out. So yeah, thanks a lot.
You're welcome. So does it come in different colors?
Of course. Yeah. Got to have the different colors. I think they're cool colors too. So definitely check them out.
I know I got mine. We got ours, and so it was like, Sal, which one do you want? What color do you want? Because you said two colors. And it was really cool to see it because it works really well. And the fact that we could put our phone in it, and we played with like how to get the phone to be the way we wanted the phone to be. And I mean, it's a really ingenious idea what you came up with, and it works really, really well.
Thanks. Yeah, when people put it in their hands, it's squishy and flexy, and you can kind of
Yep.
fidget with it too. So it just kind of feels good to have around your desk. And I think that's another thing. People just like grabbing on it. It's durable. It's not going to mark up your desk or anything like that too. So mess up your cord or phone or whatever.
Yeah.
So.
And it's not awkward in the hand at all. It's very comfortable to hold in your hand as well. That's another thing. Sorry, this time we have Felix in the room. Okay, well, I think that's, I think that's pretty much, I don't have anything else. Do you have anything else you want to say to our listeners?
Absolutely. Thanks for having me. Appreciate the questions about my journey. Helped me think too. Hope I shared a little something with your listeners, and happy to chat with anyone that wants to reach out.
All right. Well, I want to thank you for joining us today. It was a great pleasure to have you on and learning a little bit more about your journey. And I love the success that you're having. I mean, congratulations. Seriously, congratulations on this amazing success that you're having today. And if our listeners, if you found any value here today, be sure to like and subscribe to my channel at Kathleen M. Flanagan. And feel free to send the link to your friends and family as well. My books, Dancing Souls, The Dark Night, The Call, and The Dark Night of the Soul, and Awakened. I published Awakened. Woohoo! December 31st. I said I would do it. Are now available on Amazon.com as well as my KathleenMFlanagan.com. So I'm really excited about book 3 coming out, Awakened, and that's a pretty intense book, I'll tell you that. Go ahead and check out KathleenMFlanagan.com for a list of the services and products that are being offered there. I'm offering a 3-minute de-stress meditation that is absolutely free. I am not requiring an email. It's yours as a gift. Be sure to visit Awakening Spirit and take advantage of the 40% discount at the checkout and enter Brave TV. The same goes for Grandma's Natural Remedies, which is a 20% discount. Next week, we have Janelle Green. What do you want to be when you grow up? So this should be an interesting topic to talk about. And then I will see all of you next week at 4 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And from my heart to yours, I hope you have a fabulous week.
This has been the journey of an awakening spirit with your host, Kathleen Flanagan. Join Kathleen each week as she will inspire and empower all those who are drawn to her to live their highest vision in the context of love and joy. Right here Tuesdays at 4 p.m. Eastern on the Bold Brave TV network.